in Amityville, Long Island, in 1934. And that was just about, I think, 5 years before Hitler invaded Poland or something.
Just after the Great Depression.
The Great Depression was in 29. But luckily our family did well. We were pretty well off because my dad was a probation officer for the city of New York, and so he had steady employment. But in those days, he was considered to be quite affluent, and he was making $3,600 a year. We had a nice house with an acre of land. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't know she was taking pictures. Was he taking pictures?
No.
Video.
Oh, he's recording, okay.
So anyway, the one big thing I remember growing up, I had, when I was very small, about 5 or 6, I had an invisible playmate, which turned out to be, and still is today, my guardian angel. His name is Dee Dee, and I still say, angel of God, my Dee Dee dear, to whom his love commits me here, after this day be at my side, who light and guard and rule and guide, amen. Okay? So Dee Dee is in my life every day. But in the World War II broke out December 7th for the United States. It had actually been started in Europe long before that, or quite a few years before that. But in December 7th, 1941, I was a little tad of a kid. We used to have a small, what's called, like they don't have them today. It was called an airfield, and it was a field. The grass was this high in it, and the planes would land and take off on from Fitzmaurice Airfield. And I got to be friendly with a couple of pilots. One of the reasons I was friendly was because my sister was quite a good-looking girl. She was about 18. No, if I was 7. Holy good night.
Like you never have visitors.
What was that? So anyway, so we used to, every Sunday we'd go to the airport to Fitzmaurice, and the pilots, like my sister, she'd drive me over there, and so they, do you want to go up for a ride and stuff? And my dad had to give us permission, and so my dad was very liberal. So we'd go up flying in the old-fashioned bi-wings, the two wings on either side, and we'd fly over the Long Island, the Great South Bay of Long Island, and we did a lot of flying. And anyway, this one Sunday, I think if I drove there right now and it was still there, I could show you the exact spot I was standing. A car, and in those days, not all the roads were paved, so there was a car came tearing off the road, and there were big clouds of dust behind him, because he was speeding. And he got to us and he said, "Did you hear it? The Japs just attacked Pearl Harbor." Well, first of all, I didn't know what a Jap was, and I didn't know what Pearl Harbor was, And he had a gun, and he was going to fly to Pearl Harbor and fight the Jap, which was kind of cockeyed. But anyway, that was how I found out about it, and that's when World War II began for me. And there were a lot of things that happened in my life during this time. But right after the war started, like my dad was a veteran of World War I, and he went down to the draft board to re-enlist, but they wouldn't have him because during World War I, he had his hearing, a cannon went off in his ear, and he lost a hearing in one of his ears.
So why don't you tell her what he did in World War I?
Oh, you want to know what he did during World War I?
Sure.
Okay, that's my dad's history is a whole different thing, and it's very interesting to me. fact is, when he came over to this country, he was raised in an orphanage in Dublin. And my grandfather had come over here to establish himself in America, and then he was going to send for my dad and my Uncle Bill. But anyway, my dad got here he came over twice. The first time